Surely, almost everyone has heard about Herobrine at some point. Without a doubt, one of the most famous creepypastas in the world of video games. The story began on forums over a decade ago when players claimed to see a figure resembling Steve, but with completely white eyes. It was said that this entity built impossible structures, dug tunnels in strange patterns, and watched from a distance, disappearing if you tried to get closer. But what many don't know is that before Herobrine, there were already rumors of an even more mysterious figure, White Eyes. On July 30th, 2010, a YouTube user named Kerchak uploaded a video titled Minecraft Music 13 OGG. The video simply showcased the eerie atmosphere of Minecraft's Disc 13, but if you paid close attention to the lower left corner of the cave, you could spot a pair of white eyes staring directly at you. The following day, on the Minecraft forum, a user named Endorphin started a thread claiming to be terrified after seeing a pair of white pixels, apparently the same ones from the YouTube video. This led to speculation that Endorphin and Kerchak might actually be the same person. In the thread, a user named Blaster suggested the eyes were nothing more than a rendering glitch, but Endorphin disagreed, insisting it was White Eyes, a female entity. Later in the discussion, another user named Flaky created fan art of White Eyes, describing her as a skeletal, spider-like creature. However, these illustrations are now considered lost media. Around 2 weeks after the appearance of White Eyes, the now iconic Herobrine creepypasta emerged. Clearly inspired by this earlier legend, Herobrine's popularity exploded to such an extent that White Eyes was soon forgotten. However, in recent years, this dark tale has resurfaced, slowly gaining recognition once again. But why am I telling you all this? Created by Marcus Yu, Him is a stunningly crafted Minecraft horror short film based on these two legends. Here, we'll witness a deeply unsettling story in which a villager settlement meets a terrifying fate. Many of you had asked me to bring Minecraft content back to the channel, so while I'm working on a video about one of the most requested ARGs in the comments, here's another chilling story that definitely holds its own. Before we begin, I'd like to thank everyone who responded to the pinned comment in the last video, and for all the support you always give me. Remember, if you want to be featured in the next video, just reply to the pinned comment where you'll find the following question. Do you think the priest's actions were justified? Without further ado, don't forget to leave your precious like and subscribe to help the channel grow and reach more people. Every like is one more coin to escape poverty. And if you're not sure what to comment, just type meow in the comment section and I'll give you a heart in return. Comments are super important and help the video a lot, so don't forget to leave yours. Welcome to Him. As soon as the story begins, we're presented with the following text. Generations before the rise of the demigod, when the land had yet known of Almighty Steve, a cold taiga observed the presence of a bodiless deity, an unearthly force, walking between the shadows of a quiet village and hunting villager blood. This passage suggests that Steve is seen as a divine figure within this universe, which isn't surprising considering that Steve, the player, is the only being in Minecraft who cannot die permanently and the only one capable of entering creative mode. However, before his arrival, there was a dark entity that clearly alludes to Herobrine. In fact, the video's title reinforces this idea, as early on, Herobrine was also known simply as Him. After this introduction, the story begins by putting us in the shoes of a blacksmith villager who, after finishing his daily routine, heads home to rest. But just before opening his door, he notices something that immediately unsettles him. A body lying on the ground, stained with blood, right in the middle of the village. Concerned, he tries to communicate with the figure, asking if they're alright. But before he can get a response, the body suddenly begins to levitate in a disturbing, erratic manner and moves toward him. Even in a fantasy world like Minecraft, this entire situation is completely abnormal. Terror takes hold of our protagonist, and he starts running as fast as he can toward the priest's church. Once there, he explains what he saw: a woman with a strange mark on her face. However, when the priest looks outside, there's nothing there. Just an empty village. The blacksmith can't believe it. It was right there, so much so that he takes another look outside, only to witness a terrifying scene. The levitating body is now back on the ground, but suddenly it's dragged away by an invisible force. The priest mentions that a cartographer's apprentice once had a similar mark on her face, but she disappeared over 5 years ago. Even so, he tries to calm the situation, suggesting that it was probably just a wolf hunting, a common thing in the area, and emphasizing that the night is far too dark and he hasn't seen anything at all outside his house. Not finding the help he hoped for, the blacksmith has no choice but to return outside. He tries to find a rational explanation for everything that's happened. Maybe it was all just a bad dream. But when he spots a blood-stained tooth lying on the ground, it confirms that everything he saw was very real. The next morning, determined to find answers and guided by what the priest told him, the blacksmith visits the cartographer's house and recounts everything that happened the night before. The cartographer immediately associates the description of the body with his former apprentice, Masha, a girl who had a birthmark over her left eye, and who, as we already know, died 5 years ago. Intrigued, the blacksmith asks how she died. The answer he receives is perhaps not what he expected. Masha had ventured into an unexplored part of the forest and never returned. The cartographer admits he never understood why she was so insistent on going to that particular area when they still had other maps to complete. However, he reveals that before her disappearance, Masha had become obsessed with the idea that something inhabited those woods. She was convinced that an ancient primordial force lay dormant within them. The cartographer also mentions an intriguing detail. At the edge of the village, there's a pile of cobblestones next to the water, supposedly meant for a construction project. But years have passed and no one has touched them. In fact, no one even remembers how they got there. Something here definitely doesn't add up. Before parting ways, the cartographer gives the blacksmith Masha's journal, suggesting he take a look at it since he was never able to understand its contents. Upon receiving the journal, something immediately catches his attention. On the cover, there's a note with just 2 words written, him and Herobrine. If there was ever a time for the phrase curiosity killed the cat, this would be it, right? When night falls, the blacksmith examines the notebook. Inside, he finds sketches of maps and local trails, but what really catches his eye is a chilling passage that clearly describes the very entity Masha encountered, and right next to it, a drawing of the infamous altar thought to be used for summoning Herobrine in Minecraft. The text reads, "He is the shadows, the walls, the air itself. He is everywhere like sickness, and there is no cure but to wake up. He leaves a mark." This suggests that Herobrine may possess a certain degree of omnipresence in this universe, or at least when he's been summoned and set free. As for that second to last line, well, we'll understand its meaning soon enough. On the last page, the blacksmith finds a drawing of the being in question, a black, human-shaped silhouette with stark, glowing white eyes. As he stares at the image, a noise suddenly breaks the silence. Something has been watching and following him since that night. Summoning his courage and taking his sword in hand, he decides to investigate, completely unaware of what awaits him.
Cartographer! Let me in! Let me in!
Huh?
It's here!
What, friend? What? Tell me.
Him. The man in Masha's book. Herobrine. He's in the goddamn village. Whatever she saw, whatever drove her mad, saying he lives inside you. She brought it to this god-forsaken village, and he's getting inside my head. Are you not familiar with this yourself?
Yes, I am. I see things moving in the corner of my eye, but the holy charms blessed by our holiness keep all evil at bay, his protection, and some blissful ignorance, and perhaps a grieving old man.
No, this goes beyond age, grief, and the wretched blindness of our holiness. I'm going to see for myself. Stay indoors, away from the windows. Don't go outside.
Wait, where are you going?
Determined to find answers once and for all, the blacksmith decides to start his investigation at the mysterious pile of cobblestones, the very ones supposedly meant for future construction. Their strange and unexplained presence makes them the perfect place to start. But just as he's about to touch them, the priest suddenly appears. Suspicious timing, wouldn't you say? The blacksmith insists that he can't ignore what he saw that night. Still, the priest once again tries to convince him that his mind was just playing tricks on him, suggesting that what he saw was likely a visitor from the ether, a heavenly, ethereal realm filled with unique creatures and resources, the direct counterpart of the nether. Despite the priest's words, the blacksmith refuses to back down. He knows what he saw. And though the priest keeps dismissing his claims, urging him to clear his mind and rest, something doesn't feel right. As the priest turns to leave, the blacksmith notices something. A strange symbol on the back of his robe. The very same symbol he saw in Masha's notebook. It seems that Herobrine has already left his mark on the priest, confirming his direct involvement in everything that's happening. The next day, armed and determined, the blacksmith confronts the priest. He demands to know who is placing the cobblestones in the village, convinced that the priest is hiding something. This time, he refuses to leave without the truth. But the priest tries to paint him as a madman. Consumed by rage, the blacksmith storms out and heads straight for the cobblestones. In a fury, he begins to tear them apart. The priest tries to stop him but receives a brutal blow to the face, knocking him to the ground. With the cobblestones removed, his hidden secret is finally revealed: the altar to summon Herobrine. Yet it remains dormant, which explains why his spectral form, used to invade the minds of his victims, has yet to cross into the physical realm. Analyzing all this, it becomes evident that the priest was merely trying to protect the village, likely concealing the altar with cobblestones to prevent anyone under Herobrine's influence from completing the ritual. But it's too late. Herobrine's presence has grown beyond control. There is no turning back. He is already here, in the walls, in the earth, inside the villagers, everywhere. In that instant, the priest lunges at the blacksmith, hands tightening around his throat. He raves about freeing him from the curse, and suddenly, the earlier words take on a chilling meaning. Liberation, awakening. It was never salvation. It was death. Desperate, the blacksmith grasps a nearby stone and, with all his strength, strikes the priest. The man, now completely unhinged, has become too dangerous to ignore. With no other choice, the blacksmith takes his life. But fate is cruel. The priest's corrupted blood seeps into the altar, activating it, tearing open the gateway for Herobrine to enter the physical world. Slowly, a dark figure rises from the flames, its form towering and menacing. Its appearance, it's a clear reference to the fan art of White Eyes. All hope seems lost. Yet Herobrine doesn't immediately attack the blacksmith. Instead, it becomes clear that he wants to save him for last, perhaps to see him suffer, or perhaps for something far worse. The village descends into chaos. The creature moves through the streets, unstoppable, claiming the lives of several villagers. There is no escape. Desperate, the blacksmith runs to arm himself, grabbing his best sword and enchanting it with a spellbook. There's no choice left but to fight.
Right here, you goddamn coward, right here!
No!
The blacksmith is ready to deliver the final blow. But just as he's about to strike, he notices the mark on the creature's left eye. It's then that the horrifying truth becomes clear. The being standing before him is none other than Masha, the cartographer's apprentice who vanished 5 years ago. Her body has likely been corrupted and used as a vessel for Herobrine to manifest in the physical world. Despite the heartbreak, the blacksmith knows there's no other way. With a heavy heart, he drives the sword into the creature's head, ending the abomination once and for all. But victory is far from theirs. They were all doomed from the very beginning. The blacksmith isn't the hero of this story, just another victim. And perhaps now his own body will serve as the next vessel. There is no salvation. Herobrine has been set free, a manifestation of darkness and chaos, a parasitic force that infiltrates the minds and bodies of anyone who crosses its path. And with that, the story comes to an end. What did you guys think? I have to say, I absolutely loved it. Not just the artistic direction, but the way the story is told and how both urban legends are adapted to become part of a single concept. I also want to highlight how human the villagers feel. I think that's something incredibly well executed. I'll definitely be keeping an eye on this creator, and you'll probably see more of their work on the channel in the future. That being said, leave your thoughts in the comments. You know I love reading them. If you want more videos like this, don't forget to support this one as much as possible and share it with as many people as you can. Also, follow me on my other social media platforms, where I post exclusive short-form content that you won't see on YouTube. And remember, you can now become a channel member. Just click the join button next to the subscribe button to unlock a ton of exclusive perks and emojis while supporting me. If you're interested, join in. I'd be eternally grateful. This video was made by a cat, and cats can't talk. Thanks for watching, take care, and see you soon.